Xbox wrapped up their 2023 game showcase, and there was a lot of hype and anticipation behind this one as Xbox really needed a win after Redfall. We got about 27 games announced during this showcase, and these were some pretty great titles. 24 or so of those are Game Pass releases as well, which is really going to help increase the value of that subscription over the next year and a half, something we love to see. Now, for the most part, it seems that the sentiment out there is that this was one of Xbox's better showcases, and I would say here at Xbox Reforged, we definitely agree with that. While no show is perfect and there's always more that you wish you got to see or something that was done different, I think that overall this was a decent and strong showcase for Microsoft. Now, there are some gripes, and this may be a bit nitpicky, but when it came to Hellblade, this is a game I've been really looking forward to with Hellblade 2, and it's been about 3 years or so since we saw the original footage, so I thought we were going to see a little bit more. Now, this scene was cool to watch, and it was decent, but it just kind of was an odd pick to me, just this particular scene. And I saw a lot of people in chat kind of snoozing on this one a little bit. I do wish we saw more gameplay or combat or other parts of the game being this far in and with release being next year, but it was great to see it at the show either way. Now, Avowed was another surprise that I did want to bring up as one of the things we didn't necessarily, not that we didn't love it, but we were a little bit surprised. And that for me was kind of the feel and look of the game. Now, it's not a big deal, but originally when we saw the trailer 2 years ago for Avowed, it had this much more dark and mature feel to it, or at least that's how I took the original CGI trailer. And I realized that is CGI made to showcase the game and what's coming, and it wasn't really what we saw today indicative of gameplay, but I really did think that this just showed a completely different mood from what I was looking for with this game. Then when we got the new trailer, the game looked fine, but it was, to me, a lot different than the original feel. Now, we'll also talk some positivity about Avowed later on in the video as well, but I did want to mention that and see if anybody else felt the same way, that while this game does look good, I love the art style and where they're going with the pseudo-realism of it and all of that, I was a little bit surprised. Now, when it comes to Starfield, that would be one of the other small gripes, and again, this is a small one, but the 30 FPS was supposed to be announced during the show, or at least that was kind of the anticipation. They really didn't talk about performance, and we were kind of waiting for that. Now, they did have an interview with IGN that straightened that out a little bit later, but I'm going to show you a snippet here from Kind of Funny Games, and then we'll get back to it.
I'm going to rattle off a couple quick ones with you, Phil. Of course, we talk about 60 frames, 30 frames. Should Xbox players expect a clear message this summer with Starfield with 30 and 60 frames? That's a big lesson learned, as you brought up. Should we expect that answer? It's clear as day?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great one.
So, of course, after the showcase, we did get an answer in an IGN interview about 30 FPS for consoles, and we'll have to see what PC performance is really like when that comes out. And we'll talk more about Starfield later on in the video, but I did just want to mention it here that was kind of a negative thing. I wish they would be more transparent about performance during these showcases and not just throw it in to an interview later on after the showcase. But at least we do have the information, and we did get it on showcase day. Now let's talk about some of the positive things that we definitely liked, and that's Fable. Now, a lot of people were taken back by this starting off the show, and at first I'm watching this like, okay, why are they showing Fable first? I really thought, if they were going to show Fable, which with that tease we kind of knew they were, that it would be at the end of the show, as this is pretty anticipated. But after watching it and watching it a couple of times, I do understand it going first. It kind of makes sense. They wanted to get that out of the way. Everybody kind of knew it was coming. And there's a lot of in-game here, but we don't know how much of it is gameplay versus like cutscene. And a couple of the scenes do kind of look like gameplay, but I don't think it was exactly what everybody wanted to see. But we definitely got more than that CGI trailer we got before. And definitely anticipating Fable here. The Star Wars Outlaws game from Ubisoft really got my attention yesterday. Us here at Xbox Reforged are pretty big Star Wars fans, and we knew Ubisoft was working on a Star Wars game, or at least one, and this one actually looks fantastic. They had a gameplay reveal today that you should go check out if you haven't seen it, and it actually looks like it's going to be a decent game. So I'm really looking forward to that. Bring on all the Star Wars games you can. As long as they're at a decent quality, I'll definitely jump in and check them out. Now, something else that was really cool, or at least I thought so, was the Series S Black Carbon Edition with 1 terabyte of storage for $350. So for $50 more, you double your storage and you get a Black Edition console. I actually think this is a pretty good deal, and I know the Series S has its own controversy, but it does sell well, and a lot of people do really enjoy it. I would have liked to seen a Series X diskless for like 400, but it is what it is. Now back to the games. Microsoft Flight Simulator, the update coming in 2024. Now I know some people could care less about this game, but there's also a ton of us out here that love playing Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's a gorgeous game. It's a lot of fun for me to jump into. It's a relaxing game for me to jump into. And I personally really enjoy it. And when I saw this update, I was really excited seeing the cargo transports, the scientific missions, medical transports. There's a lot of different things we'll be able to do here. So I actually thought this was a pretty cool part of the show for Flight Simulator. Now, Clockworks was also another interesting one. Can anyone say BioShock Infinite? It definitely has those feels for sure, and there's some time traveling involved where what you're going to do is going to affect the future, and it actually looks really interesting. I love the art style and the COG art style here, along with steampunk and the whole BioShock look, so I definitely have my eye out for this game, but we don't have any idea of a release date yet for it, not even really a year, but it was cool to see it and definitely something I enjoyed during the show. Now, we also got Avowed, and going to the positive side, we already talked about how it felt different from the original trailer to me. But if I put that aside and just look at Avowed here for the gameplay, and that's one thing I did like. They brought gameplay. They showed us what the game's going to look like, what it should feel like and play like, and at least I have a general idea of what the game is going to be now. And setting aside the original trailer thing that kind of threw me off, I'm really looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be fantastic and definitely one for Game Pass that's going to be a great add. And that brings us to Starfield. Definitely Xbox's most anticipated game this year, and one that a lot of people will be playing for at least the next decade, if not longer. I know I'll be dipping in and out for years. The game is absolutely massive, and there's no way I'll have time to get around to everything, but I'm definitely looking forward to playing it. Now, as far as the Xbox console 30 FPS controversy goes, you're just going to have to make up your own mind on that. They're saying it's a creative decision. This is how they want to display the game. You take it or you leave it. Over on PC, apparently it's going to be tough to get up there to that 60 FPS range as well, but we'll find out when it launches how hardware is able to handle that. But I'm definitely looking forward to Starfield either way. The showcase was really good. Anyone who watched it should definitely have a fantastic idea now of what they're going into. I felt like gameplay looked better, gunplay looked better, sounded better. There's definitely improvements, and I think the delay was definitely worth it. The showcase certainly offered a lot more than we're talking about here. We just picked some highlights, some games we wanted to showcase and talk about, some excitement for us here, some things we didn't really love or that kind of threw us off there in the beginning, but ultimately I think this was a really strong showcase for Xbox, and I'm really looking forward to what they can do over the next year and a half with all of these releases and hopefully give us the momentum we've needed for so many years. It would be great to see as an Xbox fan. All right, guys, we're going to leave it at that. Thanks a lot for coming to check out the video. As always, I really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.